What's up, everybody? Good afternoon. Hope you guys are continuing to do well on this Wednesday as we move through this week. And we've got more offensive coordinator candidates to take a look at. Again, we're just going to keep going until we pick somebody, probably, because you might run out of candidates. But really, if you're willing to sift around enough, you can always find more offensive coordinator candidates. They're all over the place. And today we're going to do one that is going to be a little bit of a tough sell after what's happened over the last couple years. And I do think that this one is one of the weaker options among options that have former play calling experience, but it is still an option. And I know some people are going to be into this one. It's Ken Dorsey. Ken Dorsey, we're going to talk about him in this video. First, though, I want to remind everybody the Bleacher Report show has been created. It will be going live right about 6 p.m. Pacific over on the Bleacher Report app. If you don't already have the app, download it. You can click the link. I posted it on the community tab last night. I'll be posting it again later today at some point on the community tab. So if you're not already in there, if you're not already ready to participate in there, get over there. We're going to have fun tonight. We're going to talk about this OC stuff. We're going to talk about roster stuff. So get ready for some fun conversations about the Seattle Seahawks. It's just going to be a half-hour stream, so be there if you can. If you can't, you can check out the video on demand later. And please like this video. Click the thumbs up if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new. Click the bell for notifications. Become a channel member for $2 a month. Those are the best ways to help support the channel. All right, so Ken Dorsey. Let's talk about him for a little bit. 43 years old. You guys might remember this guy used to be a player. I remember he used to play for the Niners. Most famously, he was the quarterback of the Miami Hurricanes 2001 squad that was maybe the greatest college football team of all time. Not because of Ken Dorsey, though. Ken Dorsey was the definition of a game manager, and he managed games effectively, but he was very much along for the ride. As a coach, however, that's what we're trying to figure out here. Can he be a good coach? Well, there are some really good things here. But then you also have some things with Ken Dorsey recently that have to have you a little bit concerned. And I'm not so much talking about this most recent year, 2024, when he was in Cleveland. He was the offensive coordinator for the Browns, not calling plays because of Stefanski. Maybe he called plays a little bit, but I think it's mostly Stefanski. And they had the worst offense in football, 15 points per game and negative .179 EPA per play. That's the worst, not one of the worst in both categories. So that's bad, but that's not even the real thing here. In 2022 and 2023, he was the Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator, and you might look at these numbers on screen here and say, oh, he was good. In 2023, the Bills averaged over 26 points a game, 6th in the league, .117 EPA per play, 3rd. 2022, they were great. They were second in both categories, 28.4 points per game, .111 EPA per play, second. Here's the thing. These numbers are only for about half of the Bills' season because Ken Dorsey actually got fired after 10 games in 2023. The team was 5-5. They were having some issues. They were turning the ball over a lot. And even though the numbers were good for Buffalo, even though they had a top 6 offense and they had the top 3 EPA offense. Hold on one second here. Sorry about that, guys. Had to answer my phone real quick there. But yeah, these numbers look good. These numbers look encouraging. A lot of people are going to look at this and go, hey, he was doing a great job, but he got fired. And they promoted, the Bills promoted, what's his name? Joe Brady. And Joe Brady actually did better. And Joe Brady actually improved these numbers by the end of the season and has continued to be the offensive coordinator for the Bills this year and has been pretty remarkable. So, sorry, phone ringing off the hook right now, I guess. But, yeah. If you look at how Buffalo has advanced as an offense in 2024, Josh Allen in particular has become an even better quarterback since Ken Dorsey got fired. These numbers are not reflective of reality. The Buffalo Bills offense was not playing that great in the last 5 games of Dorsey's tenure. So these numbers don't really capture that. And then he got pushed out and Joe Brady took over and things were off to the races and Josh Allen might win MVP this year. So that's a clear upgrade. So that's something that you don't like to see when you're looking at Ken Dorsey because in Buffalo, he was calling plays, right? He's under Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott doesn't call plays for the offense. So this is where he built his play calling stuff. And while some of the stuff is good, I'm not going to pretend like this is all bad. That's a concerning sign that the team saw it fit to fire him after 10 games of them averaging 26.2 points per game and having the third EPA per play rank in football. That says that he was doing something that they didn't like and didn't think made any sense. And based on what's happened since then, it seems like they made the right decision. So that's going to be the big catch with Ken Dorsey. That's going to be why people are not going to necessarily be in a big rush to crown this guy, to anoint this guy. So, yeah, I don't know. Because you go back further, everything's pretty good. In 2021, he was the passing game coordinator and quarterback coach for the Bills. So the Bills had a real good passing attack in 2021, 4,300 yards, .164 EPA, 8th in the league. And Josh Allen had a typical Josh Allen really good season. 4,400 yards, 36 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. It wasn't, God mode Josh Allen. It wasn't MVP Josh Allen quite yet, but you can see the development. And in the 2 years prior, Dorsey was the quarterback coach. And you can see the development for Josh Allen. Like 2020 was his breakout year. 4,500 yards, 37 touchdowns, 10 picks, almost 70 completion percentage, 107.2 rating, right? 2020 is his big breakout year. He's also rushing for 400 yards and 8 touchdowns. And then 2019, that's kind of the first year where he was passable, right? 3,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, 9 picks. Like you go back to 2018, which was Josh Allen's rookie year, he's bad, right? He can't really play yet. He doesn't know what he's doing. And he's just a very, very raw and unprepared for the NFL quarterback. So Josh Allen, you can see that under the tutelage of Ken Dorsey, he went from a guy who was barely starting caliber to a guy who became one of the best quarterbacks in football. But that final step that Josh Allen took to become maybe league MVP this year was done after Dorsey was out of there. So read into that as you will. The only other stuff we have with Ken Dorsey would be his time as the quarterback coach for the Carolina Panthers. From 2013 to 2017, he was the quarterback coach for them, and that meant Cam Newton. The quarterback for the Panthers during the vast majority of this time was Cam Newton. Cam Newton had some pretty okay seasons passing the ball, right? He had one season that was great passing the ball, 2015. He had an almost 100 QB rating that year, completed almost 60% of his passes, 35 touchdowns. That was the best that Cam Newton was ever going to do with his arm. So you have that year, and then you have 4 other years where Cam Newton was an okay passer. 81 QB rating, 76, 82, 88.8. That one's pretty good. But that's obviously not the main story with Cam Newton. What he did as a runner was really, really hard to deal with. He gave you 500 to 600, maybe even 700 yards per season on the ground. And he also gave you a lot of touchdowns. So when you combine all that together, you do have a really solid quarterback. And for whatever it's worth, before Ken Dorsey got into Carolina, Cam Newton wasn't quite this good, right? Like 2011, he was a rookie and he put up good numbers, but he hadn't really distilled all of his talent down into a package that could actually produce winning games. 2012, there were positive signs still, but he hadn't really distilled it down yet. I do think that it would be fair to say that Ken Dorsey deserves some credit for distilling Cam Newton into a quarterback that could actually play well enough to win games. There's also a little bit of Derek Anderson here. He played okay in 2014 when he filled in for Cam. He played pretty bad in 2016. I don't think there's anything to read it into there, but it is worth noting that they did have a handful of games of Derek Anderson during this run. And I mean, it's pretty good, right? It is I will say this. Cam Newton's final good year in the NFL was 2018, and his completion percentage went up to like 68%, which he never even touched at any other point in his career. I think that was Norv Turner that year who was a big part of the reason why that was happening. So maybe there's an argument to be made that Cam Newton found a different area that he could excel in after Ken Dorsey left. I don't know if you want to act like it's that deep. Maybe it's not that deep. Maybe it's just Norv Turner had him playing a different style of football, and that's all there is to it. But here's kind of the thing. In Carolina, he's got this super dual threat quarterback, right? Cam Newton is a very much dual threat quarterback. If he was just an arm, he would be barely starting caliber. But because of what he can do with his legs, because of what he can do as like a surrogate fullback, he becomes a very valuable player. Josh Allen, kind of the same thing, right? Super dual threat quarterback who can give you. He's got a much better arm. He's a much better passer than Cam Newton ever was, or he became that over the years. But he's almost as good of a rusher without losing anything in the passing category. We don't really have that kind of a dual threat quarterback. Like these are two. Obviously, Cam Newton and Josh Allen aren't the best quarterbacks ever, but they are some of the most unique quarterbacks ever. We don't have a quarterback like that. Geno Smith is not running 3 defenders over for touchdowns the way Cam Newton used to. Geno Smith is not running for 700, 800 yards in a season the way Cam and Josh Allen have done. That's just not his game. That's not most quarterbacks' games. So if that is something that he maybe excels working with, that's something we can't really give him. So I don't know if the fit makes sense on that level, if there is something to that. But overall, I'm a little bit bearish on this one, simply because Buffalo saw something with him they didn't like. They fired him, and they immediately found their footing. Like, Josh Allen went from a really good quarterback to maybe the best quarterback in the league. Josh Allen entered the stratosphere this season after Ken Dorsey went to Cleveland. So even though the results as a play caller in Buffalo look good numerically, that tells me it's not everything that it looks like. It's not everything that is represented there. And that kind of puts me off this one a little bit. I give credit where credit's due. There's a lot of other good stuff here. But right now, this is a guy whose star is probably on the decline a little bit, right? Ken Dorsey's star is not on the rise at the moment. He got fired in Buffalo, and now he's the offensive coordinator for the worst offense in football. Both ways. So I'm not super into this one. I don't think most people will be, but let me know what you guys think regardless. I will see you guys later. Probably another video later today. There will definitely be a Bleacher Report stream tonight at 6. So be there. And everyone have a good rest of your day. Go Hawks.